Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Today we're going to check out the 1-bar stamina Nightblade build. You can use this setup for solo or group play. 1-bar builds have become very powerful thanks to a new mythic item called Oakensoul Ring. I will get into this in a second. Written guide is on eso-hub.com. I will put the link in the description. You will find all the sets. I do have a best in slot, the beginner, and even you can use werewolf with this setup if you want. Basically all the info you need is here. As well, I also added screenshots with like buffed, unbuffed, and the parse, and even wrote a small guide just on the most important things. Oakensoul Ring is also on the website. We will add the leads on the go. Like, we only missed 2. But by the time this launches, we should have all or close to all. Now let's get to the build. So just the basics first. I'm using a Thief Mundus Stone just to give us more weapon crit. By far the best one right now. I do use Lava, Food Soup, and Saltery as a buff food. You could also use like Arteon Takeaway or Dubious Cameron Throne, but this one is usually enough because even though this only gives us max stamina and a lot of stamina recovery, we still have almost 20k health, so that is really nice and more than enough. Potions, you can just use the dirt cheap stamina potions that you find. If you have a lot of money, you could also use these very expensive ones that give you minor heroism to boost your ultimate regen a little bit more, but they're usually just way too expensive, so just use the normal ones. Like, or none at all. Everything works. We have more than enough sustain. Race, I go for Dark Elf, but any stamina based race works, so don't worry too much about it. I do like Dark Elves because they give you 1910 stam and 258 weapon damage. So that is very, very good. In terms of sets, let's first talk about the Oakensoul Ring. So this is a new mythic. While equipped, you are unable to swap between your primary and backup weapons. So you can only stay on 1 bar. Obviously, for a 1 bar build, that is not really a drawback. But in turn, we get all these juicy major buffs. To talk about the most important ones. Major Savagery, 12% more weapon crit, 10% more overall damage, 10% damage reduction, 20% weapon damage, major heroism, basically giving you free ultimate every 1.5 seconds. Very good for a Nightblade because we have a fairly cheap ultimate that increases our damage by a lot. So this is really, really nice. We also do get minor endurance, increasing stam recovery by 15%. This one is from another set. Is there anything else? Yeah, Major Resolve, so increasing our armor. Major Courage, 430 weapon damage. And Major Force, 20% more crit damage. So you see, there's a lot of juicy buffs. Obviously, when we do a DPS Parse, the target dummy often does have most of these buffs already. But when you're playing solo or in a group, especially in unoptimized groups, these buffs will be lifesavers and pump your damage super high. So that's the first set. If you don't have this mythic item, don't worry. There's other options. Like I said, there's a beginner setup on the website. The second set is Relican. Basically, you can use the perfect or the imperfect version. It doesn't matter that much. The most important bonus that we want is the 5-piece, and that's the same on both versions. Just gives you a lot of crit, max stam, minor slayer, which increases your damage to dungeon trial and arena monsters by 5%. And then the 5-piece bonus is basically a proc that deals 9 to 10k DPS. That's just super high. Single target only though. The second set that we use is Pillar of Nirn. So we get max stam, crit chance, weapon damage, and then basically a buttload of bleed damage. I will showcase a DPS Parse in a second. You will see, like, it's just so much damage. Yes, you could also use Zogwin if you want, but Pillar of Nirn is more damage on this setup. Last set, Slime Craw, 1 piece, just to get a little bit extra crit. So we basically have all medium armor divines with stamina enchants, except the shoulder that is light armor, divine and the stamina enchant. Jewelry, all bloodthirsty with weapon damage enchants. Then we have a Nirn-honed dagger with a flame enchant and a charged dagger with poison damage enchant. That's the set. Champion points. The green one, honestly, use whatever you want. I go with Rationer, Liquid Efficiency, Steed's Blessing and Treasure Hunter usually. Blue one is more important. So you want to get Raffle Strikes, that's 205 weapon damage. Then Deadly Aim, which increases your direct or like damage on with single target attacks by 6%. Master at Arms increases your damage on with direct damage attacks by 6%. And then you can either pick Backstabber or Fighting Finesse. If you're playing in a group, Backstabber is a little bit better because it gives you 10% extra crit damage, versus Fighting Finesse is 8%. However, with Backstabber, you need to be behind the enemy. So if you're unsure whether you will face the boss from behind or not, then just use Fighting Finesse, because it's just 2% difference. The red tree here, Boundless Vitality for more health, Fortified more resistance, Rejuvenation for more recovery. And the last one, Bloody Renewal, just to get us more stamina when we kill an enemy. Of course, get as many of the passive perks as possible. They're also all on the website. Skills. Barber Trap. So we place this on the ground. It usually gives us minor force, so it increases our crit damage by another 10%. And you remember, we already do have major force. That's like 30% more crit damage. Very nice. Relentless Focus. So you always want to make sure that this is active, because while it's active, you increase your weapon and spell damage by 60, right? For every light or heavy attack. Up to 5 times. Now, when you have done 5 light or heavy attacks, you can actually use the Spectral Bow that deals a buttload of extra damage on the enemy, and it also heals you for a little bit. Now you can use this on cooldown or just when we activate Incap. It doesn't really make a huge difference. You want the easier rotation, you can activate your ultimate and then use the Spectral Bow. And then don't use it until you have Incap ready again. Or you can just activate it whenever it's ready. It doesn't make that big of a difference. You will see when we do the parse. Surprise attack. This is our spammable. Basically, yeah, that's like your most used skill. It just deals a lot of upfront damage and it also casts very fast. I can showcase you real quick. And with the bow proc, if it's ready, you could also shoot it if you really want. Like you need to do 5 light attacks, so doing light attacks is very important. Then once it's ready, you can shoot it. It deals a lot of damage. You can see here the surprise attack is 14k physical damage and the bow proc is almost 26k. Next one, Killer's Blade. We use this in Execute. So up until 25% you want to use surprise attack, and then you will swap to Killer's Blade, which deals up to 300% more damage when the enemy is below 25% health. It's one of the strongest Execute abilities. Twisting Path. This here is basically our AoE dot. It costs Magicka, but we have enough magic anyway, and it also deals really good damage. And then we do have Incap Strike, which is our ultimate. Only costs 70 ultimate, and you will see when we do the DPS Parse, we can use this often because we have Major Heroism, which, like, it just increases our ultimate regeneration by so much. It's great. And of course, whenever you use this, you get 20% more damage from all your attacks. So that's really juicy. And then of course, while slotted, we also gain Reef, which restores 100 Magicka and Stamina when you deal damage with a light or heavy attack. So it also helps with sustain a little. Now this is a group setup. If you are playing solo, I do recommend getting Resolving Vigor. This is a heal, a very powerful heal. And you can just swap it out with Killer's Blade or Barber Trap, whatever works better for you. Like if you think, well, okay, the execute for solo play not that important, I would rather get the minor force buff, then swap this out. But if you want Killer's Blade or you don't have any fighter skill, you can also do it like this. Then this heal will be very, very strong. When we look at the Parse, let me see this one here, 91.5k. You can see surprise attack makes up most of our damage. Then the light attacks, Relican almost 10k, that's from the set, just so much free damage. Killer's Blade is the execute ability. Even though we only use it the last 25%, it almost dealt 9k DPS. Twisting Path, it's the dot, AK. Spectral Bow, AK. Here I used it whenever it was ready. Pillar of Nirn set. Hemorrhage, I think, is also from Pillars. Oh, it's like 9k, so it's basically another secondary Relican. Very strong. Incap 4k, and then we have the Trap and all the status effects, which is basically free damage pretty much. Almost at 11k DPS, right? And Burning and Poison alone is almost 8k. So basically these two enchants here do almost 8k DPS. Basically just free damage. I also did one where I just activated Spectral Bow after Incap. And it's pretty much the same DPS. We just use Surprise Attack more. So it kind of balances itself out. Honestly, whatever works better for you, do it, right? So, before we check out the Parse, let me showcase the outfit. I basically use all Moongrave Fane, the daggers, and then Void Pitch and Patron's Gold. That's pretty much it. Please don't forget to subscribe. Let's check out the Parse.